Welcome. This is BelleAire Radio. This is your girl, Cymone Bakers, and I'm here filling in for Kiara Kelly with Professor Lipscomb. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Did you know I'm a lifetime subscriber to Sirius Satellite Radio?
Really?
I bought it in 2005, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know I used to get a lot of speeding tickets, but when I got Sirius Satellite Radio, now Sirius XM, I just sit in the right lane and I drive the speed limit and I enjoy my drive. And if you're out listening to us on the road right now, stay tuned on channel 142 because we got good programming for everybody all day.
Yep, that's right. So we have some very exciting things on the show. Professor Lipscomb, can you tell us about your story?
Yes, my story is called The Wright Way. I interviewed a man named Lonnie Wright, and he runs a program for youth who have been incarcerated on the outskirts of Las Vegas, Nevada.
And I know that we also have the interview that I conducted with Adrianne, the violinist.
Yeah, and I know you asked her a lot about her career and some of the outreach she's been doing with violin, and that really ties into the story that I did as well.
All right, so with October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Professor Lipscomb, what are some of the initiatives that Bennett took with this cause?
One of our students, Tasia Sweezer, who is serving as a health correspondent, had a chance to interview representatives from our health services department to get some information for college students about what they need to know about breast cancer prevention. And I don't know, Cymone, is that something that students your age worry about or think a lot?
You know, it's funny that you said that because I think that too many times we as young women, we don't realize that breast cancer can hit us at any age. Also, we have another segment with some of your radio students, Joe and Tyrone. Can you explain to us what that's about?
Yeah, Joe and Tyrone went out and did some interviews. And I know things have changed quite a bit since I was in college, but there's some things I found really interesting about those interviews. And I think there's some things people at your college age will find interesting as well.
Now we're going to get into your radio story, The Wright Way.
Dr. Lonnie Wright has crammed a multitude of roles and experiences into his one life. He has served as the CEO of the Urban Television Network, Tri-State NAACP Vice President, owner of a Carl's Jr. franchise, longtime member of the Governor's Commission for Adult and Juvenile Corrections, international professor of hospitality, gaming consultant for the first domestic casino in South Korea, aid worker to families impacted by Hurricane Katrina, and coach of Singapore's national basketball team, just to name a few. Coming out of high school, colleges across the country recruited Wright to play both basketball and football. Instead, he decided to stay home and play for UNLV's Runnin' Rebels. Wright stayed involved with the Alumni Basketball Association after graduating, and later successfully lobbied the NCAA to extend scholarships so that athletes can finish school after their sports eligibility expires. While he has traveled the world many times over, Wright always returns to his birthplace.
What draws me to Las Vegas is, first of all, it's home. You know, this is where I was born and raised. Second, Vegas is a 24-hour town. Living in Vegas, I probably did every job you could think of, from casino porter to dishwasher. I know this business from front of the house to back of the house, and it's all about servicing the customer. I've gone all over the world speaking about the hospitality business.
Today is a proud day for Wright, and his trip will be a relatively short one, less than 1 hour. The students from his HIT program are graduating. HIT stands for Hospitality International Training, and this intensive training program takes place at the Spring Mountain Youth Camp, a juvenile corrections facility run by the state of Nevada. In a 6-week course, Wright's team teaches these young men skills they'll need to become professional chefs. He started this program more than 20 years ago, and 70 to 80% of its graduates have achieved successful employment.
In our program, we like to say that we're academia interfacing with industry. We meet people where they are. We take our chefs and our staff inside the prisons and we train. We go to industry personnel in charge of these mega resorts, these chefs, and we ask them, what would you like to see in our curriculum? So we customize our curriculum for the industry. We have intense training, but it's more than just technical skills. It's human relation skills.
Wright makes a familiar drive across the vast Nevada deserts and mountains. The Joshua trees lining the side of the road resemble cacti and are charred by recent wildfires. Looking into the distance reminds Wright of his grandfather, who worked as one of the few African-American miners at Mercury. Mercury was a part of the site known as Area 54. Much folklore about alien invasions surrounds this site, but it was actually a place where the United States government conducted nuclear tests dating back to the 1950s. Wright said that many of his grandfather's co-workers died from a very similar form of cancer.
My mother was 15 years old when she had me. That's like a child having a child. And she was 14 when she had my brother. So my grandparents literally raised us. In life, one person can make the difference in the direction that you go. And that one person was my grandfather. And he would come home with all of this dust over him. And as a young child and having that male figure to bond with, I would run and go to his truck and get out his lunch pail, because he would always have a treat in his lunch pail for me. Usually it was Hostess Twinkies. And then he would always tell me, boy, you don't want to do this, you better get your education.
Wright arrives early to the banquet room at the Spring Mountain Youth Camp, and the room fills quickly. The audience includes congressional representatives, detention center staff, community volunteers, parents, high-level managers from Las Vegas resorts, and the next group of youth to enter his program. Wright is the first to address the group.
96% of the people that are incarcerated, they're coming out. Now, how do we want them to come out? We want them to come out to be constructive, not destructive, to have a job. That's what we want. We are also considered the off-ramp. Now, what do we mean by the off-ramp? Unfortunately, some of these kids are speeding, not our kids, to that adult system. We don't want them in that adult system. We want them to take this off-ramp of learning how to cook. This room is filled with people that have the same heart for these young men that we have. And it's very important that we give these young men a purpose. And once we give them a purpose, that's when the passion comes in. We train these young men and we give them an option to develop skills to pay the bills. Can you guys smile? Okay, let me tell you how we smile in Las Vegas. We say money. Say money. Money, you gotta smile. All right, good man.
One young man comes forward to deliver the remarks for his graduating class. He unfolds a sheet of paper from his pocket before he begins.
I'd like to thank you for helping me accomplish this goal. I can't wait to see what the future holds for me working on experience I'll learn from camp. Thank you for attending the ceremony.
After the ceremony, this young man walks over and is immediately embraced by a woman in the crowd. It is his mother.
He spoke very eloquently. He just blew me out the water with some of the things that he told me he learned in the program, and I'm excited for him. Before my son came to the camp, he was getting into a lot of different trouble, hanging with the wrong crowd, doing a lot of different things, and I was scared that I was going to lose my son to the streets. I came and visited him almost every week, and every week his attitude and his conversation progressed and got better and better and more positive, more positive. I have a feeling that he's going to have a bright future. He's going to be released today. So he's been telling me that he can go to the cannery and get a job. They took him down with the HIT program, and they let him tour the kitchen. So I'm going to take him up there to get that job, and he's going to be consistent with it.
They hit me with the speech at the last minute. I didn't really want to make a speech, but I just wanted to thank everybody that helped me get here. It's a warm feeling just to be able to give your mom your certificates and show her that you actually completed something without quitting. I was never doing anything positive. I was just always in trouble. So for me to accomplish this goal I did today, this is one of my biggest accomplishments.
The time to celebrate for the new graduates is brief. Unlike other such events, it is these graduates who prepare the meal for the invited guests.
Right now we're just serving the food. It has ground beef and pork in the meatballs. Chicken mamou's a nice blend of chicken cut up in smaller pieces. It's a little spicy. I believe they'll love it.
And shout out to all kids that want to do this program. I think you should, because it's a great program and it help you get through life.
Great opportunity.
Yes.
I'm very happy right now. I know my parents are very proud of me, and I'm very happy to see that they're happy to me, because at one point I was disappointed, and I was disappointed when I first got sent up here, but now I feel like it brought me, God has a place for everybody, and it brought me to the right place and made me find my passion for what I really want to do with my life.
Wright's team includes people very close to him. He started this program more than 20 years ago with executive chef and friend Bo Hampton.
He always did life changes with these young men and young women, and he brought me on board because he's seen something in me that I can help with these programs. So it was great. He mentored me now for me to be able to reach out to help the last, the lost, and the least. And teaching these young men, if you do it the right way, I can give you a knife, fork, and a spoon, but I can give you a little more. I can give you some substance, how to be a young man, how to conduct yourself in the kitchen, and most of all, how to be respectful, thoughtful, and mindful.
Dr. Andy Nixon serves as the Director of Compliance and Curriculum Development for the HIT program.
Lonnie was one of my psychology students in high school way back. He was a straight-A student. I've watched him grow because he's from this community, stayed in this community after college. Over the years, I've watched him in so many different arenas. He was special back then. There was no question he was going to be successful. I just had no idea he was going to be as successful as he was.
The Assistant Executive Director of the HIT program is the closest of all to Lonnie Wright. It is his wife, Sherry. As the meal concludes, she clears the table settings and prepares for another event at a nearby women's prison.
Well, we make a good team because we care about people. We want them to succeed in life, and we know people make mistakes, and we're there to help them after they make a mistake.
Another graduate's mother reflects on the changes that she's seen in her son.
For quite some time, it was worrying about it, whether my son was going to live or not. Worrying about whether my son was going to see another birthday. Constant tears. Constant worry, but today I have been shedding tears of joy because my son's whole attitude, his mind frame is completely different. And for him to walk over after receiving his certificates and hug me and just to see the smile and the joy in his face and the light. Once he started going down the road of messing up and making mistakes, he started feeling like it's too late for him, it's over. And one of the things that this place has given him is hope. Now I can see my son having a future. And unfortunately, his actions got him here, but it honestly and truly saved my son's life.
On the way out to his car, Lonnie says that the hard part begins now. The graduates must take advantage of their opportunity by finding and excelling at a new job.
That's right. All right, ma'am.
All righty, and we're going to definitely be calling you.
Yes. And we're going to put him to work. Keep him off the street.
Before heading back down the mountain, Wright stops at a brand new 80-yard football field that has been conspicuously placed on top of a mountain plateau. Up 12-0, the Spring Mountain Golden Eagles have the ball on offense versus the Round Mountain Knights.
In sports, you have a lot of people patting people on the back. We don't get enough encouragement in the world today. And sports seems to make that possible. When a guy is down or make a bad play, you say, hey, keep your head up. You'll do better next time. Look like he's gone all the way, baby. He's gone. That's about a 80-yard touchdown. They're going to turn some music up and they're going to go crazy. The Eagles going to start dancing. That kid got some speed, too. Oh, yeah, he does. They've been in trouble in school, and now they're out here. They got people in the stands cheering for them. They got a mascot. They're winning the game. And people care about them.
The Spring Mountain area provides Wright many linkages to his past and likely his future.
My memories start at like 7 years old, when I would come up here with the YMCA, and I wouldn't have my parents with me. We would come up here in a bus, and we would stay for 3 weeks. We would have camp counselors. We would hike throughout these mountains. Then when I got older, I became a counselor. I started working with kids up here, 3 weeks in the summer. I've been coming to these mountains probably 90% of my life. It's just a beautiful place, and because it's so high up, the air is so crisp, and indirectly, Mother Nature is therapy for these kids. And sometimes that change of scenery makes all the difference.
At the end of his day, Lonnie Wright returns to the high-rise casinos and crowd-filled streets of the Las Vegas Strip. It seems a world apart from where he has just come. Soon, young men from the Spring Mountain Youth Camp will make that same journey. Wright hopes that when they do, they will become happy, productive contributors to our society.
Wow, Professor Lipscomb, that seems like a very touching story. Is there a way that you will be able to keep us up to date with what's going on?
I will, and I'll try to follow up with Dr. Wright. And he's going to be coming out here for our media festival in February. So I'm hoping people around here will have a chance to meet him in person. And now, Cymone, can we go ahead and play your interview with Adrianne Munden-Dixon?
And that music you're hearing is from our featured artist of the week, Adrianne Munden-Dixon. When was the first time you ever showed your interest in music?
I was 4 years old, and I was watching an episode of Mr. Rogers, which was just my favorite thing to do as a little kid. And there's a father and son playing violin together on the show, and I don't know what it was. I just became completely obsessed from that moment. And I remember, begging my parents for weeks for a violin, and eventually they gave in, and it just kind of went from there.
How long would you say you practiced on these pieces when you started playing the violin at the age of 4?
When I was really little, I didn't have a lot of discipline. My mom made sure I practiced every day, but it wasn't extremely structured practice. Neither of my parents were trained musicians. They didn't really know exactly what it took. So it was really not until middle high school that I started to discover proper practice techniques.
And so would you say that there were some major sacrifices that you had to make in perfecting your craft in general?
Yes, I would, in terms of just time. You don't have time to pursue everything you want to pursue. I really loved sports growing up, and I really had to put those on the sidelines. Also, personal relationships can suffer, family, and also, friendships, romantic relationships.
As a child, how did you enjoy performing?
I actually loved performing as a child, and I got good feedback from audience members that it was enjoyable. It wasn't until later I got to college that the nerves really started to kick in then.
How were you able to channel those nerves when you performed?
I had to go through a lot of different techniques of figuring out how to deal with that. What's really helped me a lot recently is practicing meditation and breathing techniques and being as prepared as I can be and thinking about what my intention in performing. Am I trying to impress someone? And if that's the case, then that's not really going to produce a very interesting performance.
So what is like the best feeling or the payoff you get from performing?
After performing, some people get really, really tired, but I just get really, really excited, relieved, but also on top of the world.
What are some other music genres that interest you?
I grew up also playing bluegrass fiddle, and really what my other love was playing jazz.
What are some of the things that you are doing now to progress in your career?
I just started performing with the Savannah Philharmonic, which has been somewhat of a dream of mine growing up in Savannah and growing up going to the symphony. I also have this piano trio that I'm really passionate about.
If everything works out the way that you would hope for it to, what is your highest goal in music?
What I would love is to have a career of both teaching and performing. Primarily perform because that's really what I've studied. But I really love teaching, and I love teaching privately. I love teaching kids, and also perhaps having a concert series, either in a traditional venue, but also I really want to play in non-traditional venues. So just really kind of infiltrating the community with music.
Do you feel like your music can inspire social change? And if so, what way?
Absolutely. I think that music has incredible power to do that. I've seen that personally, playing for a family member actually who struggled with, drug addiction and time spent in jail and rehab and struggling, with that major life problem, and him telling me that it felt like, he felt like a human again and not like a criminal. And I played in a couple homeless shelters here in Pittsburgh, nursing home communities, but what I really want to be part of is playing for incarcerated people in prisons.
So you have the power to play something that can actually influence and touch them.
Yeah, in a real way. And that's something that has become a real passion and direction that I want to go in after I'm done with school.
So can you tell us when your next performance is and if we can catch you?
I'm playing the Bach Double Violin Concerto here in Pittsburgh on November 5th and November 8th. And then my trio will be performing in Savannah the weekend of January 9th. There's my website. It's www.adriannemundendixon.com.
Thank you, Adrianne, for sharing your passion for music with us, and we hope the best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Cymone, is it inspiring for you to hear somebody that has made their way and sort of living out their dream through music?
It is. It's very inspiring for me. Like I said, I'm a music major, and so just to be able to see someone in that profession being able to pursue their passion and actually going far and being successful, it really is encouraging.
Cymone, if I was a betting man, I'd say you're going to have a bright future in whatever career you choose to pursue.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, let's go now to Tasia Sweezer, our health correspondent, and she's going to be getting you some information about breast cancer prevention geared at college-age students.
Today we're going to talk with Mrs. McDonald-Finch, the office manager of the health services at Bennett College, and the nurse practitioner, Mrs. Pierce. How does breast cancer affect Black women?
1 out of every 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015. As Black women, we are disparity because we get it at a slower rate, but we die at a higher rate. One, mostly because of the health insurance. If you don't have health insurance, you can't get a mammogram. And a mammogram is your way that the doctor can diagnose or not diagnose you of breast cancer. Some women go in to get their mammogram. They get a call back that says, we saw something on your mammogram, and they don't go back. When they do go back, you may be at stage 4, and therefore, they can't do as much as they could do for you if you'd gone earlier.
Also with Black women, we get breast cancer less often than Caucasian women, but when we do get breast cancer, we tend to have the more aggressive form.
The only way to really know that you feel something different is to examine yourself every month. If you do a breast examination every month after your period, then you'll get to know what your breasts feel like. So when you do feel something different, then you'll know you need to speak with your doctor instead of going on the internet and self-diagnosing.
What do you feel like we should do as a college community to bring that awareness to the campus?
I think we as providers need to give that information out all the time. So say if someone comes into the health center for upper respiratory infection, we should say to them, are you checking your breast every month? That way it's a constant reminder.
How do you make students feel comfortable coming in when they feel like something is going on in their bodies?
I can just say, if you come to the health center, just know that we're going to do our best to let you know that we're going to help you as much as possible.
Thank you so much for coming down and sharing your information, because I'm pretty sure there's been information here that can change somebody's life.
In today's society, people have different preferences with their relationship decisions. Today we'll be asking, what's the difference between dating and hooking up? And what is your preference with dating and hooking up? Why would you choose one instead of the other?
Well, the difference between dating and hooking up would be that you respect the person and that, you don't simply want to lay down with them. Laying down with them, you can get sick, you can have a baby, that's more bills. I don't really have time for that. So normally when I date, I court the woman.
Hooking up is cool only if you really have a rapport with the person that you're hooking up with. I don't think that you should have like a one-night stand type deal. That feels kind of dirty to me, I guess. Hooking up is cool, you know. It could lead to dating. You'd be happy it all worked out.
Hooking up, it's hooking up. I mean, we all grown. We know what it means. Dating, you actually take the time to actually want to know the person and know the individual and who they are. I prefer to date someone because hooking up, you could catch something. Yeah, and personally, dating, you can date as many people as you want, really.
Now, even though this is a two-man show, it wouldn't be fair not to hear the ladies' point of view on what they feel about relationships.
I prefer dating over hooking up because hooking up to me is just like something you just do. Like it's not something steady, and I'm a steady person. I like commitment. I like knowing that I'm the only one. I don't do that it's official when it's unofficial type. Nah, like you need to let me know what's up. Like we need to have a title. We're not just gonna hook up and you gonna drop me like a hot potato and go to the next spot. Like nah.
In my opinion, the difference between hooking up and dating is that hooking up is something that generally happens at PWIs. Like, it's something that generally happens with people who, like, don't have any interaction with each other, don't know each other, anything. Dating is cool because, when, you know, like, you're entertaining somebody, you guys are going out, spending time with another. But I really think it's only appropriate if you want to get married. Because if you don't, then why you spend all this time with this person?
So what about the girls? Do you feel as though they were telling the truth? And if so, what makes you feel that way?
Most definitely. I feel as though the females were telling the truth. Their use of hand gestures as they were telling me their answers, and they looked in their eyes as they were telling me their answers. They just looked so serious about what they felt as far as being in a relationship. They really not looking for no one night stand type of thing. They really want commitment. They want that one guy. They want that one guy they can talk to after a long day of work, after a long day of school. That's what they want. They want that one guy. And, you know, that's what females are looking for more nowadays.
You know, definitely, I agree. And I feel as though also, you know, females mature a lot quicker than males. So while a lot of males are out there trying to search that pleasurable liaison, a lot of females want to settle for that relationship. They want that one-on-one time, you know. So I do agree also. I can understand why you feel as though the females were telling the truth. I done learned a lot, man.
I definitely did as well, man. I want to say it was definitely a pleasure being able to work with you.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Most definitely, man. Be sure to tune in with next week at BelleAire Media Group. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
And we're out. Stay tuned.
Everybody pretty much to a person said that they only prefer dating. Do you think that that's how all college kids are for the most part?
To be honest with you, Mr. Lipscomb, I'm going to have to say 50-50. I'm not necessarily sure if people are acting upon wanting to date rather than hooking up. So I don't know. I think that concludes our show for today.
Come on, can we do another segment or two?
No, they have to tune in next week on Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. For Professor Lipscomb, this is Cymone Bakers, and we're signing out. We'll see you next week on BelleAire Radio.